flying boat, it was possible to design it with a hull, rather than making it a float plane, and thus eliminating the performance handicaps typically imposed upon float planes. It was projected to be capable of attaining speeds of up to 520 miles per hour at 40,000 foot, 57, due to the SR.A/1's perceived value in the war against Imperial Japan. Measures taken at an early stage of development towards immediate quantity production. 58. However, due to the end of the conflict, pressure for the SR.A/1 quickly dissipated. 58. On the 16th of July 1947, the SR.A/1 prototype performed its maiden flight, quickly proving its soundness in terms of its performance and handling. 59. However, officials judged that such an aircraft was unnecessary, and that the aircraft carrier had demonstrated a far more effective way to project air power over the oceans. 60. During late 1950, shortly after the outbreak of the Korean War, interest in the SR.A/1 program was briefly resurrected amongst British and American officials, with whom data had been shared in the project. 58. However, the flying boat fighter was found to be obsolete in comparison to increasingly capable land-based fighters, leading to a second and final cancellation. 61. 62. During the Berlin airlift, which lasted from June 1948 until August 1949, 10 Sunderlands and 2 Hythes were used to transport goods from Finkenwerder on the Elbe near Hamburg to isolated Berlin, landing on the Havel Sea beside RAF Gatow until it iced over. 63. The Sunderlands were particularly used for transporting salt, as their airframes were already protected against corrosion from seawater. Transporting salt in standard aircraft risked rapid and severe structural corrosion in the event of a spillage. In addition, 3 Aquila Airways flying boats were used during the airlift. 5. Bucking the trend, in 1948 Aquila Airways was founded to serve destinations that were still inaccessible to land-based aircraft. 5. This company operated short S.25 and short S.45 flying boats out of Southampton en routes to Madeira, Las Palmas, Lisbon, Jersey, Mallorca, Marseille, Capri, Genoa, Montreux and Santa Margherita. 5. From 1950 to 1957, Aquila also operated a service from Southampton to Edinburgh and Glasgow. 5. The flying boats of Aquila Airways were also chartered for one-off trips, usually to deploy troops where scheduled services did not exist or where there were political considerations. The longest charter, in 1952, was from Southampton to the Falkland Islands. 5. In 1953, the flying boats were chartered for troop deployment trips to Freetown and Lagos, and there was a special trip from Hull to Helsinki to locate a ship's crew. 5. The airline ceased operations on the 30th of September 1958. 5. Saundersrow Princess Galen at Farnborough's back show in September 1953. On the 22nd of August 1952, the Saundersrow Princess, one of the large stand luxurious flying boats ever developed, performed its maiden flight. 64. While flight testing of the innovative and ambitious flying boat went relatively smoothly, determining that the Princess was indeed capable of achieving its envisioned performance figures, only one prototype of the type would ever fly. 65. 64. Despite the granting of a certificate of airworthiness and representing the pinnacle of flying boat development of the era, no customers were willing to place firm orders for the Princess. This is despite reports that several would-be operators, including Aquila Airways and Aerospace Lines, had attempted to purchase examples. 5. 66. 67. In 1951, Borg performed an in-depth revaluation of its standing requirements, and determined that the airline had no present need for the Princess, or any new large flying boat. The airline had already chosen to terminate its existing flying boat services during the previous year. 64. Up until 1974, ANZ Australia operated a flying boat service from Rose Bay to Lord Howe Island using short Sandringhams. The U.S. Navy continued to operate flying boats, notably the Martin P-5M Mullen, until the late 1960s. During the 1950s, the U.S. Navy had encouraged the development of a jet-powered flying boat bomber, the Martin P-6M Seamaster. However, its development was protracted by unfavorable handling characteristics above Mach 0.8, including rapid changes in directional trim, severe buffeting, and wing drop, which made it unfeasible for service until these tendencies were rectified. 68. Following the U.S. Navy's withdrawal of support, Martin tried unsuccessfully to market the Seamaster to the civilian market, rebranding it as the Seamistress, but the initiative picked up no takers. 69. During the 1950s, the Japanese aircraft manufacturer Shinmeiwa Industries conducted internal design studies into developing flying boats that would exhibit greater levels of seaworthiness than their predecessors. 70. Over the following decade, the company developed the Shinmeiwa US-10, a new generation flying boat, to meet Japan's requirement for a maritime patrol aircraft capable of ASO operations. The initial model, designated PS-1, was quickly followed by a dedicated search and rescue (SAR) variant, the US-1, although this was technically an amphibian rather than a flying boat through its modified designs. 70. Shinmeiwa developed further flying boat concepts around this period, including the Shinmeiwa MS, medium seaplane, a 300-passenger long-range flying boat with its own beaching gear, and the gargantuan Shinmeiwa GS, giant seaplane, with a capacity of 1,200 passengers seated on 3 decks. 71. 21st century developments. The Shape of the Short Empire, a British flying boat of the 1930s, was a harbinger of the shape of 20th century aircraft yet to come. Today, however, true flying boats have largely been replaced by float planes or amphibious aircraft with wheels. The Beriev B-200 twin-jet amphibious aircraft is used for fighting forest fires. There are also several experimental forward/kit amphibians such as the Vommer Sportsman, Quicket Glass Goose, Airmax C-Max, Aeroproctor 24, and Seawind 300C. The Shinmeiwa US-2 is a large steel amphibious aircraft designed for air-sea rescue work, derived from the earlier US-1. The first example was delivered to the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force in 2009. This device has replaced its US-1 fleet with the US-2. 72. A civilian-orientated firefighting variant of the US-2 has also been designed and promoted to prospective customers. 73. The Canadair CL-415, an improved model of the Canadair CL-215, remains in production during the 21st century. 74. 75. The type has been primarily used for forest fire suppression, but has also seen us in other capacities, such as a maritime patrol aircraft. 76. 77. The German company Dornier Seawings, an offshoot of the original Dornier company, has repeatedly announced plans to launch production of its Sea Star composite flying boat. 78. 79. In February 2016, Dornier launched the improved CD2 Sea Star. 80. During the 2010s, the state-owned company Aviation Industry Corporation of China, AVIC, launched a program to develop a massive new amphibian, the AVIC AG600. 81. 82. On the 24th of December, 2017, it made its maiden flight from Zhuhai Jianguan Airport. 83. 84. The Icona 5 is an amphibious aircraft in the light sport class. The Progressive Aerodyne series is an amphibious aircraft in the light sport class, available as a kit-built experimental or factory-built aircraft. Shortly after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, two separated scientific production associations, NPO, in Samara, started to make flying boats for a new developing Russian General Aviation. Today NPO Aero Volga makes its LA series, with LA-8 being its latest, while NPO Shaker makes L series, with L65 being its latest in a lineup. See also Ground Effect Vehicle, List of flying boats and float planes, Maritime Patrol Aircraft. References.
Good. Very good. I will make a video about it in my language, Danish, but I need a break. It's 6 p.m. I think I will bicycle down to this Netto supermarket and buy more cola and a little candy, salty licorice, this Netto supermarket. And I think call it wine gums, but no chips. I did eat 2 bags of chips yesterday. But this flying boats, that's very good aircraft because it can landing on the water. So it can be very useful to big many places in the world have a lot of islands with waters in the Pacific. Even in Canada have big lakes, big lake out in the wilderness, all the way along here. The more places. So, but I will go and bicycle and buy some more cola, I think, and a bit candy. Then I will charge my camcorder.